Okay, welcome back. We're back here at Burns Brothers Performance. A little bit of a twist today. We're changing things up just a little bit. We've got another car, project car here. We've got Bill Peterson, we've got George Burns. We're going to tell some stories about this thing. We're going to do a walk around and talk about what we're going to do to it here. And when I say we, I mean George is going to do to it. So first, let's do some introductions. Bill Peterson, a man I've known since 1976.
Hello.
6th grade.
Holcomb Hornets.
Yep, go Holcomb Hornets. All right. So kick it off like we normally do. We're classing it up. Kiwanda Cream Ale in bottles. I highly recommend Kiwanda Cream Ale. Give it a
Props
try.
to Pacific City.
Yes. Cheers.
Cheers. Cheers.
So, cheers. So let's start with the origin of this. It's a 1965 Chevrolet Impala SS 396 4-speed. How long has this thing been in your family?
My grandfather bought it in 1965. He bought it new, and then he passed away in '91. And that's when I acquired the car.
So that's the other part of the story. So this car was in Big Pine, California, and Bill made the deal. We actually, I would say, we kind of highballed it down to Big Pine, California in a, what the heck was that? That was a Mazda.
Mazda MX-6 two-door.
Yeah, Mazda MX-6 two-door. So tight quarters. 4 of us hauled down there to pick this thing up. I think we stopped in Tahoe at one point.
Stayed the night in Tahoe.
Yep, and drove the thing all the way home. It drove like a champ, 75 on the freeway or whatever, and got it all the way home. So, and when you got it home, there was a few things you did. You did some things to clean it up. I think you put gears in it, and that's one of the things we'll talk about here coming up. It's a pretty tame looking all-stock car. But I can tell you, this car, I've ridden in it when it's had the right rear tire smoking in 4th gear. So I remember vividly, after Bill got it home, we're out bombing around, we cleaned it up or whatever, and he took off in 1st gear and started spinning the tires out on the country road, and he kept shifting that thing, and it kept spinning the tire all the way through 4th gear. So I think that's one of the things on the list is it's going to get a posi traction.
It's a posi for sure.
Yeah. So Bill even raced this thing out at Woodburn. I forget what it ran. You had it down the track down there once.
I did. I couldn't tell you what it ran. But
early 90s.
It was fun. Yeah.
So yeah.
It was fun.
Anything else?
Yeah, no, I'm listening to you guys. I get to hear all the stories on this one.
All right, so we're going to do a quick walk around. We're going to talk about what George has got in store for this thing, and we'll give you a nice up-close look at it. Cheers. All right, so let's hear a little bit more about how this Impala was ordered, how it came to be.
So like Dave said, it came from California, a small town in California called Lone Pine, California. It's on the eastern side of the Sierras, right between the Sierras and White Mountains. And my grandfather was a cattle rancher, and he went down from Big Pine, which is about 45 miles north. Big Pine's about 250 miles north of LA. So they go down to Lone Pine, he's looking for a new farm truck. So they go down. This is sitting in a lot. It had been ordered by a kid that was in the military. So he ordered a big motor, 4-speed, no options. It's got a big radiator, they call it a Death Valley radiator. It's got power brakes, power steering, two-tone. He wanted it to look good, but he was gonna come back from the military and kind of race around in it, right? So my grandmother was really admired, but she loved the car. They looked at it and said, "Oh, sorry, the seal, it's been sold." But they kind of were friendly, and they ended up going home. So a couple weeks later, they're home having supper, at noon off the ranch, and in drives the car salesman in their driveway in this small town. At that point, it's probably 1,000 people maybe. And he's got the car, he's got a sales contract, a pint of whiskey, and says the kid came back from the service. He lost. They're on. So it's where they're at is kind of on the border of California and Nevada. He went over to Hawthorne, which is kind of where everybody went to gamble. Lost all his money in a poker game.
Oh no!
He couldn't make the deal in the car, so they went for a drive. They inked the deal on the coffee table in my grandparents' living room, and they took a shot. And the salesman said, "Well, there's only one thing left to do." And he goes, "What's that?" And he goes, "I need to ride back to town." So he had to drive him back 45 miles to Lone Pine, and that's kind of how the Impala got into our family.
Nice. That's a great story.
Yeah, so it's really kind of a fun story.
So, and this thing has, it's the engine's been rebuilt.
Yeah, he rebuilt it at, I think, 120,000 miles. It's got 180,000 miles on it.
Okay.
They just kind of went and freshened it up. Still original motor. They didn't deck it or anything. All the numbers are still, everything's original.
So the drivetrain's all original.
Yeah.
Obviously, all the body panels, all the chrome, all the trim, all original. You've done headliner, right?
Yeah, so when I got it back, it did have a repaint like 81, and it kind of faded out. It's kind of a high mountain desert town. It's 4,000 feet. It's dry. The paint just gets kind of, it sat outside its whole life. So yeah, when I got it back, the carpets were pretty faded, so I put carpets in it. The headliner was perfect. I think I told George this. And I went to clean it, and the threads just disintegrated.
Yeah.
So Rick Bell out in Gresham put a headliner in it for me. I ended up doing the dash pad. Coil springs in the back were pretty saggy, so I put coil springs in it, shocked.
I remember that project.
Yeah.
And then you redid the dash. You restored the dash, right?
Yeah, so when I pulled all the dash out to do the pad, I just cleaned everything up, cleaned the lens on and all the bulbs, everything functions. Like tonight, I probably haven't driven this car. I maybe put 2,000 miles in this car since '91. And tonight's the farthest I've driven in a long time, and everything works great. It's just drives smooth, shifts smooth, everything's great. And like you mentioned earlier, we did gears in it. I think it had 308s in it, and I think we put 355?
355s, I think. Yeah.
I'll let you know.
Yeah,
Right.
George will let you know next video.
Yeah.
Other than that, just tires. I did dual exhaust on it, which we're gonna do as well, kind of replace that.
Well, and you said it's been outside its whole life. Since '91, it hasn't.
Well,
It's been inside since
It's been
'91.
inside, yeah. So up here, since it's been in Oregon, and it's I bought the new some NOS plates for it, but I've still got the black and yellow California plates with the dealer frames from Miller Chevrolet.
Oh, nice.
And, I've got every piece of point of sale, from the ruler to the can opener to the leather original key fob, all that stuff from the dealership. It's just kind of neat. I got all that stuff. The one thing I was telling George, the one thing I don't have is the original bill of sale. We couldn't find it, but I have every other piece of paperwork for this car.
Well, you have a pretty good idea who did.
Yeah, exactly.
And you got a great story.
Yeah, even the State Farm insurance, the little spring-loaded clear thing. Yeah, they were stacked.
You put them on the steering column.
They just slip each one every new year, and every single year was in there.
That's awesome. Yeah. Well, so let's take a look at what they call the power barn. Let's look at this 396. There it is. 4-barrel quadrajet 396. Very nice.
Yeah, so I just put kind of an aftermarket chrome air cleaner lid on it, just let it breathe a little bit. It's got the solid. A lot of guys punch holes in the back, but I just.
The giant. Yeah. The giant lid.
Scott Davis actually put. He did brakes on it. I don't know, 10 years ago, and the water pump for me.
Nice.
And then, I know George is gonna. My grandfather replaced one of the power steering hoses blue. George is gonna kind of get in here and just make it look all original again.
The original chalk on the firewall.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Yep.
What's funny is I always thought the big block 4-speed was kind of the cool part about this car, which it is, but I took it to a 55.6 Chevy meet probably 20 years ago. Guys heard about it, and I drove it over there, and it's actually a factory 2-tone hardtop. So it's they decoded the fender, the firewall tag, and it's a poly blue mist with an emerald white top. So they were geeking out about a 2-tone hardtop more than a big block 4-speed car.
Yeah. And that top, the top's still glossy. It's just a different color. So they did repaint the whole thing, you think?
The whole car,
Yeah.
So the top. So.
Yeah, that's the thing. With these old cars, all that stainless trim, it's all perfect condition.
See, I'm with you. The cool part about this car is the big block and the 4-speed.
Yeah,
Right.
I don't get so much in the cowl tags like those guys were.
Right.
But it's cool, but the power plants.
Yeah.
You see a lot of these cars, but you really, and I mean, you really rarely see big block 4-speed cars. So
Oh yeah.
let's take a look at the work that's happening back here. I think this is one of the main
Hey,
reasons.
go ahead, George. This is kind of where you jump
Yeah.
here and actually the trunk locks.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Okay. So, actually, the reason why Bill came to me is because he's been talking to Dave here for several years about about a year and a half, probably.
Yeah,
I'd say
yeah, at least.
about working on this car, and Dave had approached me with it, and so Bill could probably tell you the story as to why the trunk is like this, but as you can see, it needs a trunk pan in it. So
Yep. It's a rusty.
that's the major part of this whole car. I mean, I'd say that's really the only thing wrong with the car. And so that's what we're going to do is, among a few other things.
Original seals.
Yeah, hence
Yeah.
the rust.
That's a little
Yeah.
hard.
So what happened is,
But I mean, come on, 1965
Well, the
and
car-
California.
I had the carpets out of it, and it's just perfect sheet metal. There's a little spot on the driver's side. We'll talk about that in a minute. But like I said, it sat in their driveway, kind of cattywampus, and obviously the seal, when it rarely rained down there, it got water. But we got it home. My grandfather had a piece of shag carpet in here.
Oh.
So because he drove it, I mean, it was a car. It was kind of utilitarian for my grandparents.
Yeah.
And it just was a sponge, and I was shocked. You look at the rest of it; it's all intact. But where that big piece of shag carpet was, it just killed it.
And the trunk light works.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the trunk's not bad. And the thing is, you look at things like right here. I mean, an Oregon car, an Impala from Oregon would never look like this, right? The back window's solid. Yeah, very solid original car.
So we ordered it's actually a 3-piece pan. So we'll have to weld the seams, and then they actually they're overlapped, but I'm actually going to cut them so they get a butt weld, and then I'll grind them and body work them. The idea when we replace this pan is we want to do it so it's undetectable, 95%. I mean, to a trained eye, you're going to be able to know that it was changed, but we're going to try to do the best of, ability to make sure that most people can't tell it was changed. Anyways, so I was looking online for trunk pans, and the one I found, which was like a $1,200 trunk pan, which I wouldn't have been able to put it in the car anyway because the car is complete. They took the 3 pieces and welded them together. So we ended up just buying the 3-piece kit, and then I'll do my work on it.
So the trunk will be restored.
So new trunk pan.
Posi, right?
So new trunk pan, new trunk seal. That stuff's ordered. There's a little spot on the driver's side door jamb right underneath the door hinge, which I guess from the
So
driving in the fields or whatever.
Yeah, because that's something, like I said, they had a cattle ranch. They drive it down. They're kind of that eastern Oregon kind of sandy gravel roads. And that front vent, it was packed with dirt. And then when, like I said, it sat and it would rain, it would run through that vent, and it pooled in the driver's floor pan. There's a little rust spot
So
in
there's
there.
a little spot
And a jam as well.
that's probably going to turn into a little bit bigger spot. So we're gonna go ahead and address that too. And then we're gonna put a posi in it. And then there's a spot over here where your grandfather lost a tire chain.
Yeah, like I
Is that
said,
what it was?
he drove this thing and over West Guard Pass. It was in the snow. He chained it up and he tossed a tire chain. So it obviously beat on that fender well a little bit. And he had fixed it. And I'm not sure if it's too damaged, but a lot of guys will come up to the car and it's like, oh, they got rust in their quarter. And I was like, nah, threw a tire chain.
Yeah.
So,
We're gonna get some paint to match that and blend that.
And it was the right rear. Maybe he was just spinning the tire.
maybe
I've
doing
got a couple stories about that. Yeah.
doing burnouts in the snow.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna rebuild the front suspension. We're not getting any Dave Loney gloss black powder coat on this one. It's
Darn it.
Literally change the bushings of ball joints and put the control arms back on.
Okay.
So you can't talk us into that, Dave.
Right.
No polished powder.
Sorry, Scott. Scott, you don't get in on this one.
Right.
And then I believe shocks and springs on the front. And that's about it, wasn't it? Power steering hoses, like you mentioned.
Yep.
And then there was a little spot on the driver's floor, just underneath the carpet there, where your feet sit.
We'll throw it here.
We're gonna take. Oh, it's strawberry.
That's right.
it's on the list.
All right.
So, yeah, nothing too major on this one, but it'll be a good fun project, and we'll get Bill back in business here.
I was going to say it'd be just in time for springtime, summertime,
Yeah.
road trips.
Belts too.
That, yeah.
It's never had belts in it.
Bill scored a set of seat belts.
Yeah, I really got lucky.
So, matching. Actually, you said they're a little bit nicer shape than the front ones in the car, because the front, it has front seat belts but no rears. So he wants to put rear seat belts.
So did Grandpa take the seat belts out?
No, I never had belts in it, and it's funny.
That was optional, huh?
Yeah, I remember as a kid, literally sitting on the center console, driving through town, or my sister and I in the back seat. I mean, I think climbing a package tray, you know, floating around. But I never had belts in it, and you know, we want to take our nieces and nephews for a ride, and my in-laws, and you know, so it's just time for some belts.
Wow. It still has that old Chevy smell. That is awesome. And, you know, true SS.
Car is a time capsule.
Yep, it's cool. Right on. All right, well, we can wrap it up. I'll grab a little more footage around the car, and we'll be back for an update on this thing when it's done.
Yeah,
At some point, maybe we'll see 2 tire marks out on the street.
that'll be fun.
We'll see. All right, thanks, everybody.
All right.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell, yada, yada, yada.
Share with your friends.
And happy holidays.
Bye.
Yeah.